Now, you had a bad ankle sprain.
Yes.
We've heard about sprains.
Yes.
How did you do it?
I actually took an awkward step getting out of my car, and my foot went in one direction and my ankle went into the other. And I didn't think it was that bad, but over the weekend it continued to swell. It was very hard to put all my weight on my foot and walk. And so I was able to get into the practice and found out after x-rays that I had torn ligaments in my right ankle. And so ended up having to do physical therapy for about 6.5 to 8 weeks.
Okay. And what kinds of things did you do with the physical therapy?
With my physical therapy, I actually did the Wii, which I
All right.
Nintendo Wii,
Who would
which
have expected?
I never ever thought
Were you
that
into
I
video
could.
games as a
Not at
kid?
all.
No?
Not at all.
Okay.
But I had no idea how a video game would facilitate in my rehabilitation. But I'm like, you're the expert, you know. So along with home exercises and strength training, we actually helped improve my balance, because while I was in the shoe and the swelling was going down, I actually was putting all of my weight onto my left foot, because when I put all my weight on my right foot, it was very, very painful. So we actually helped with the yoga poses and the little teeter-totter game to get my balance back to where it was so I could get into my cute shoes.
Well, and Matt, you're a physical therapist, and you've been taking care of people with ankle sprains for a long time.
Yeah.
What's the hardest thing for them to recover, and where does it mess up?
It's really the proprioception.
Yeah, so they just can't feel their place in space.
You know, we use a lot of vision to tell us where we are in space, and patients have a tough time finding where that center of balance really is. So we're using the Wii as a nice visual feedback to show them, here's where you're putting the weight, or here's where your center of balance. And it's fun. It's a great game to be able to play and enjoy, and come to physical therapy to relearn where your center of balance really is for you.
And it's really important in terms of getting those muscles to work and to keep you from spraining again.
Yeah, balance uses all those ankle muscles, those little muscles, to stabilize the ankle so that you're not misstepping or balancing or falling over.
So we used to use things like a wobble board, these things where you sort of try to keep your balance, but this works better.
Well, we use the wobble board as well, but the nice thing is the Wii works with all of those old pieces of equipment. We can stack those right on top of the Wii to really give you a nice center of balance, or a nice challenge with your balance, and then visually see kind of where you are in space, and the patients are able to really respond to that and find their center.
It looked fascinating because I was watching other people do it, and I was hoping that Mark, who was my physical therapist, would put me on the Wii, and sure enough he did. And it was fun. Great fun. You never outgrow your love for games.
So you have one set up here.
We do.
Show us how that works.
So we'll go into a little yoga pose.
A yoga pose.
Sure. You gonna demo for us?
I'll try, sure, why not? We'll see how it works.
You're gonna step right on there.
Okay, yeah, all right, here we go. So I'm using...
It's gonna take a little...
I'm making an excuse before I have to show my inability to do this. But is this good for skiing and getting ready for all winter sports or anything else?
Great preseason thing for you to get in shape for skiing.
All right, that sounds great for me. Like to ski. I understand you like to bike.
I do.
You did a 3,000-mile bike ride one afternoon?
We had a couple friends. We did a little fundraiser for Children's Miracle Network at the end of med school and rode our bikes cross country.
Wow.
So.
And it was one afternoon? Is that what you said?
It took 7 weeks of consecutive afternoons.
I see. Okay. All right. So we're
following the little instructor here. She's going to do a tree pose.
She is. Okay.
I'll let you follow along with her.
Watch my move. Oh, jeez.
Maybe a tough one to start off with. I'll let you go easy. Just holding the arm. Yep.
There we go. How about that? That was close.
Just go ahead and lift the foot up.
I'll try the other side. Maybe it works better.
And you are the red circle.
I am. Okay.
And you're trying to keep it right in the middle of the yellow circle.
Okay, let's see. Let's keep it right there in the middle.
There you go.
All right.
So by using that visual feedback, we're able to show the patients kind of where their center of balance is.
Well, that does help a lot. Actually, and I could feel my ankle really working hard. Thanks. That's great. Not bad. Now, well, for my encore, I could fall on my face, but I'm not so sure I want to do that. But in conjunction with what you do there, and I know that you have an extensive, actually you have a gymnasium pretty much set up there in the office for the various types of injuries that you deal with. But one of the more important things you do is fix the feet and make sure that they're stable. Now, orthotics.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about orthotics and what you've needed to do to keep your feet going.
Well, she's a miracle worker. I've worn orthotics since '97. I, as a triathlete and run marathons, Ironmans, and I started having problems, and I was very skeptical about coming and getting new orthotics because I had the same pair that I would just refurbish for like 13 years. And so they were very near and dear to my heart. And I only, because they're your feet, you trust certain people with your feet.
Sure.
And so I went to the practice, and after having another foot surgery,
What kind?
Morton's neuroma.
Oh, okay.
Had one in
All
the
right.
left foot, had the right foot done in February.
So were you one of those who wore those high heels and those little
Well, it's
narrow
actually,
compartments?
no, it was actually from marathoning. I
Okay.
didn't know that your
Just too
feet
much traction.
spread and grow when you run, and
Yeah.
I kept wearing the same size shoe, and my feet were getting too compacted, and so now I pay really close attention to big toe boxes and things that you need to when you buy running shoes. But so I was pointed to Marcia, and after my latest surgery, well, I started having problems with the right foot again, and thought, oh my gosh, stump neuroma, I don't want to go there.
Right.
And then I started having problems with the right foot and never had problems before. And so finally after the surgery, got new orthotics, and was having a little bit of trouble even with one spot on my right foot that just was it was really painful, and it shouldn't have been. So she worked her magic and customized them a little bit more. And well, that very minute I stood up, no more pain.
You knew.
Yeah, it was great.
So you basically fashion people with orthotics. Obviously, somebody tells you what the anatomy is, but you're pretty versed. You've been a sports trainer. You've gone through a lot of this for many years. And you have, obviously, a pretty interesting table full of,
Right.
of shoes and different accoutrements that you use to help. And you have molds here that you were going to show us a little bit about.
Well, basically, my job is when someone comes to me, is really sitting down and listening to what their problems are, taking a look at their gait mechanics and how they walk, what kind of problems I can see by just evaluating that, and then deciding how I can best help them by changing either the shoes they wear or fabricating a custom orthotic to correct the position that they're having problems. If they're completely overpronated, putting them into a neutral position. In Michelle's case, she had a very tender spot that every time she ran, that one particular area was extremely painful, and it was keeping her from doing her marathons and running. So, you know, once we did the orthotics and put her in the correct positioning, it was a matter of just going in and tailoring the orthotic and offloading one section. And just by doing something simple like that with the correct shoes that she wore, she was back to running without pain.
Right. And I think that probably a lot of people try to do that on their own, and sometimes I guess that can be effective. But as we see, you've got a nice variety of specialized shoes that can help people and can help make their feet more comfortable in their shoes. I know that all of you have had your travails. You've gone through some significant surgical procedures, and you've gone through a lot of rehabilitation. We all have to admire and respect you for that. And Dr. Buchanan, you've had your accolades here. Certainly you've got your patients who recognize and realize that it's a very specialized area, and you've done a lot of work and become very, very competent at being a super specialist in a very difficult area. And Dr. Borden, thank you for being here and telling us about the feet as well. And once again, it's been a pleasure. And of course, it's always a pleasure to have you listen in and to watch the show. But of course, until the next time, I'm Dr. Russell Libby, looking out for your health.